Hello, I'm Daniela Jones, a research assistant professor in biological and agricultural engineering at North Carolina State University. I also hold a joint appointment with Idaho National Laboratory. For this conference, I'm presenting a research collaboration between AiChE and Idaho National Laboratory as part of our efforts to harmonize the assumptions we make for our feedstock logistic models. That includes figuring out the likely end plant scenario for blended feedstock conversion and preprocessing in the US. The work presented here is translated into a manuscript to be published soon, and where my PhD student, Tasmin, is the first author. We already know that there are some areas in the US where locating a biorefinery will not make economical sense, but a preprocessing depot facility would perhaps be the option to be able to collect the biomass in such areas. These depots would deliver densified biomass to biorefineries for processing them into biofuels and/or bioproducts. On the other spectrum, in areas where biomass is abundant, preprocessing would take place at the biorefinery, and hence a depot would be co-located with a biorefinery. To figure out the end plant scenario for blended feedstock conversion and processing in the US, we solved for the incapacitated facility location problem through a mixed integer linear programming model. Our goal was to maximize herbaceous biomass accessible to a facility while parameterizing the model to deliver biomass at a specific target price to the reactor throat and to deliver a specified biomass quality. We assumed that biomass will be preprocessed into a pellet format at depot facilities. We analyzed corn stover and switchgrass as feedstock to biorefineries with a capacity of 725,000 dry tons per year. The capacities for the preprocessing depots that we assumed varied between 25,000 and 725,000 dry tons per year. We included the cost at the farm gate, storage, handling, processing, transportation, ash and moisture dockage as part of our operational costs to deliver biomass to the reactor throat. As you guys can see, the highest fixed cost per ton is the processing cost at nearly $20. We used the county-level resource assessment presented by AiChE as inputs for available corn stover and switchgrass for different key years, 2022, 2030, and 2040. Additionally, we let our model decide the optimal between two different harvesting practices for corn stover based on the publication by Langholm et al. While a two-pass harvesting practice collects about 4% less ash than a three-pass, the yield for corn in a two-pass system is also 49% less. Going back to the assumptions in our model, these different harvesting practices are also reflected in our operational costs, with the cost of storage for two-pass being 13 cents per ton higher than the three-pass corn stover. Additionally, the cost of removing ash is almost threefold when three-pass is chosen. Our model identified the optimal combination of feedstock types at each biorefinery to achieve a targeted quality based on the 2018 biochemical design case by NREL. Greater than or equal to 59% of carbohydrates, greater than or equal to 20% moisture, and less than or equal to 5% ash content. As per the 2018 biochemical design case by NREL also, the near-term goal of $3 per gallon gasoline equivalent could be reached with an average of $79 per dry ton delivered to the pretreatment reactor throat. We use this value as target price for our model. All these inputs went as decision variables to our model to maximize herbaceous biomass accessible to a facility while delivering biomass to an average target price to the reactor throat and to deliver a specified biomass quality. For this analysis, we created different scenarios that represented the different quantities of available biomass or different years in the billion-ton study. Scenarios 1 through 3, from top to bottom, represent years 2022, 2030, and 2040. As expected, the number of facilities located increased, with increases in biomass available. It's interesting to note that for the most part, the model chooses about 25% of total biomass collected to be corn stover harvested with 3 passes, in yellow, regardless of the total available biomass. But from scenario 1 through 3, the 2-pass corn stover is displaced by the collection of switchgrass. In these maps, depots are represented with red circles, and the size of the circles represent the size of the depots. Biorefineries are represented as triangles. As expected, biorefineries are first located in the Midwest if we look at scenario 1, and as biomass availability increases in the US to scenario 2 and scenario 3, some biorefineries are located near the coastal region of the Southeast. Because the model solved for multiple biorefineries totaling an average of $79 per ton delivered to a biorefinery throat, some biorefineries had biomass delivered at lower than or equal to $79 per ton. And in this graph, these are represented as blue triangles. And then triangles in yellow represent biorefineries located with biomass delivery greater than $79. While the model located one biorefinery with total biomass delivered at $102 per ton in scenario 3, the average of all tons delivered to a biorefinery nationwide were $79 per ton. In these figures, the bubble size indicate the total amount of feedstock shipped to depots in each state, and the number of biorefineries are based in each state are located on the color legend. For example, Wisconsin has 1 biorefinery in scenario 1, 2 biorefineries in scenario 2, and 5 biorefineries in scenario 3. States like North Carolina would only have 1 biorefinery in year 2030 and 3 in 2040. To gauge our understanding of the targeted cost and to analyze the long-term goal of $2.5 per gallon gasoline equivalent, we included a 4th scenario using available biomass for 2030 at a lower target price. This scenario is to be compared with scenario 2, as total biomass available remains constant between the 2 scenarios. Note that this reduction in target price of almost $8 reveals a 3-fold reduction in total biorefineries nationwide. At the lower price target, a lot of the biomass in the states that border the Mississippi River are no longer feasible for collection. The scientific contributions from this analysis can be summarized in the following actions. Modified an existing model to locate multiple depots and biorefineries nationwide. Analyzed resource allocation to meet specific cost and quality targets. Developed a public database of depots and biorefinery locations in the US for different scenarios that represent the nth plant scenarios. Created visuals to better represent each state. We're now exploring the cost and feasibility associated with locating biorefineries of much greater capacity. We posit that a biorefinery of 82 million dry tons per year, powered by nuclear energy, may be able to fully compete with petroleum-based fuels. So far, we were able to locate 4 biorefineries with an average biomass delivery cost to the reactor's throat of $102 per dry ton using biomass availability for year 2040. I'd like to finish by acknowledging our funding sources and professionals from SAS, INL, MIT, and Michigan State University. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to your questions on Friday, November the 20th at 8 a.m. Pacific time.